Welcome to Intuitive Revolution, the spark that ignites the power of intuition within us all. Your guide, Marsha Kreho, connects with innovators and healers in spirituality, psychology, and personal growth. Get ready for insights that challenge, inspire, and transform. The journey to your intuitive self starts here. Together, we rise.
I'm so happy to be here because this is going to be, I can feel it, an episode that's going to help to just bring light to so many things that people think about intuition, that we're going to be able to just give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Today, I have my sister as my special guest.
Hi.
This is Lisa.
Hi, dear.
And, we wanted to talk about what it's like to come from a family of intuitive individuals and basically our experiences. And as I said before, bringing some light to just what intuition really is. And that's it.
And now, a quick word about our sponsor.
While I have you here, I just want to take a quick moment to tell you about Serendipity Spa. Not only are they extra awesome for sponsoring this podcast, they have so many great services and products to offer. If you're in the Des Moines area, you've got to visit Melissa's Spa in Clive. As a skilled esthetician, Melissa doesn't just focus on skincare. She offers a variety of energy treatments that promote total body wellness. Her spa also features an incredible selection of products from local small businesses and hosts some pretty fantastic events, if I do say so myself. It's truly a place where relaxation, where wellness, and community come together so beautifully. Now, back to our podcast. The thing we want to start out with is talking about our family background with intuition. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting because your perspective of our
way
family,
different than yours. Yeah.
Totally different.
And we just realized that, 2 minutes ago? Pretty much.
Yeah, because you were telling me some things and I was like, I don't know anything about that.
I forget I'm older than you, and I remember things way different than you do, I'm sure.
Yeah. So as far as our family being intuitive, like I said, I had no idea until I think I said this in the last episode, until after I started, doing readings. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because I remember basically telling Dad, hey, I'm quitting my job to be a psychic medium. Oh, I don't know. And he's just like, oh yeah, both your grandmas do that. I was like, what?
See, and I thought you knew that.
No idea.
It was just kind of normal for me. I mean, we would go to Croatia, where our mom's from, and Teta Ruja would take the coffee cup and flip it over and read our coffee grounds for us and tell us our fortune. And that was just, I thought everybody did that. Don't they?
Yeah, you thought everybody's aunt just read their
and our grandma did it too, and Grandma Sophie, she would say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen. That's just how we are. That gypsy blood in us." Okay.
Yeah. Well, I remember saying, "Oh, Grandma Sophie too," because at that point I had been over to Croatia and Grandma read my coffee grounds. That was my only time, that she was able to do that for me. Because you'd been there more than I have. Mm-hmm. But I said, Grandma Sophie too? And he goes, yeah. I go, oh, that's why she's always talking to herself. He's like, yeah, she's not talking to herself. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I thought she was kind of, like old
Grandma
people
Sophie.
are.
Uh-huh.
But, okay. So that was interesting, to be able to discover that piece. And I always said that everyone's intuitive, like I had said before, and to different degrees. But I feel like people whose family line has that ability with intuition may come across stronger, maybe because it's supported more within the family, or it may be just the opposite. There's people who are fearful within the family, right. And so it's totally closed off. But it's just one of those things where the more you're aware of it, the more you're able to practice it, how open you are to it, the more intuitive you're going to be.
True.
But tell me about your experiences, because you are also intuitive. It's like,
Yes.
Mom, we're psychic, right? But what do you think I feel like maybe you've come across or just opened back up to it, but tell me about that, like all about that.
I mean, it was just always little things. Me and Dad would pick up the phone at the same time to call each other, and he's like, "Yep, see, we got that gift," you know. And so we just always kind of knew that it was there. Not that I, could see ghosts, or and maybe I did, but I didn't think that it was weird, or I just thought it was normal. But I think Dad always told me, don't ever play with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to bring you anything good. And I'm just like, whatever, Dad, And bunch of me and my friends got together and we started playing the Ouija board. And it opened up this world to me, but not on a positive note.
Not in a good way.
And it was a lot of negative energy. And I'm getting shivers right now thinking about it.
Surrounding us in white light.
Yes. And I remember coming to Mom's house in the middle of the night because someone appeared to me.
I remember that.
Yes. And it just scared the crap out of me. And I'm just like, I don't want to see dead people. I don't want to do this. This is too scary. This is too much for me.
Did you say it was like a ghost that had a crush on your boyfriend or something?
Yeah. She's like nails down the side of the wall. And it was just, yeah.
Oh, I could tell you because I remember you said, I was sleeping in bed. I looked over. There was this girl crouched by the bed near the door, like with their nails scratching down
exactly.
Mm-hmm. And that never has left my head. And didn't she like mess with the animals too?
Yeah. Yes, she did. My cat went away for a while, and finally, we lived in an old church too, and there was a lot of bad energy there, negative energy.
Yeah.
But so that's when I decided, you know what? If I do have any of these gifts, and this is not for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of it.
Right.
And then I think you and Mom started, listening to Sylvia Browne or watching Sylvia Browne. I thought that was neat. It was cool to see psychics on TV and that sort of thing. But I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Not if it involves ghosts and people coming to me in the middle of the night. So I shut it out.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, I guess it's funny. We talked about this earlier. It was like some people have to protect themselves and they have their different ways of doing so. And rightfully so. I think everybody should have their own way of doing it. Oh, and let me just preface by saying everything that I'm saying today, it is my opinion. It is my experiences. I feel like whatever is valid for you, whatever resonates, like Sylvia Browne used to say, whatever, resonates for you, you can take it and the rest you can leave behind. I really feel like that. Like you don't have to think that this is
it's so different for everybody.
Right? Yeah.
Even for me and you, it's different.
Yeah. The way that we receive our intuition is so much different. But me opening up myself intuitively, I feel like almost just out of curiosity is why I started. I didn't have any fear when I started. And you know what's so funny is people will be like, what are your rituals? What do you do? And I'm like, boy, you know what? I mean, now I do definitely, because I realized from when I started, you should probably set some intentions for the good, only to come through, or, to be of love and light. Because when I first started this, I didn't do any of that. I just, I don't know, tapped in and told you what I was feeling. But, everybody has their own rituals. But for me, it just didn't, I just always felt protected. And
that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is good to set some intentions too.
Well, for sure. And so I always start out my readings with surrounding myself and my client with the white light, asking for our angels, our guides, our spiritual team, our loved ones to all come through, having this white light represent unconditional love, safety, security. So only things of love and light can come through and stuff like that.
What do you mean by your spiritual team?
That's a good question. Well, shoot, I don't know. It depends how you want to look at it, but I can say this, because there's different names for, people on your spiritual, or spirits on your spiritual team. They're there to support you, basically be the ones that help navigate your life.
Your guides.
Your guides,
We
Your
have angels,
ancestors.
ancestors. Yeah, that's one I didn't know really about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you got Teka Rouge over there, and now we have, we have Baba over there, and everyone else to be there to help us as well.
Mom and dad.
Yeah. And they're all rooting for us, and it's the spiritual team for me. I also, through meditation, through our experiences together, go pretty deep, pretty far back. I guess maybe we could touch upon that just a second. Let me just explain. I feel like I have two or three spirit guides. One being the first one that I ever found out. I found out through doing communication through a candle. I don't even know where I came up with that, if I just came up with it on my own, but basically I lit a white candle, asked for only good things to come through. I did ask that because I didn't want any weird crap happening after what happened to you. And I said, okay, I would like to speak with my guide. Are you here? If you are, then make the flame go higher.
I remember that.
Yeah. And so I would talk to my guide through this flame, and then through the flames I found out his name was Michael, and so he was the first guide that ever came through to me, which then I realized going back is one time I took a picture in my first apartment, and it was so cool, and I cannot find it, but if you look in the TV, because have you ever heard about people like taking pictures in their TV, like spirit shows up in the TV? There was,
or mirrors or something like that, yeah.
These big, huge angel, the TV was off. So, but there was these big, huge angel wings, and there was these individuals, and you could see their faces somewhat. And I knew they were my guides.
You just knew.
I just knew.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there was one man, he kind of looked Native American with like a longer nose. And anyway, there's another person next to him, and I was like, that's Michael. Like, I don't know, how did I know, but that's what resonated for me. Anyway, so I digress, but it's interesting how they'll come through. I think I want to bring up this part because I want people to realize they have access to this too. It's not just people
everybody
with
does.
intuitive, like highly intuitive gifts. Okay, everybody's intuitive, I already said that, but everyone can have access to their guides, even through a simple meditation. Remember the meditation I sent you?
It's awesome. Yeah.
So basically in this meditation, you kind of get into this like safe, nice, serene space, and your guide comes to you. You ask your guide a question, you thank them for being there, and then at the end of it, they give you a gift. And it's crazy because I just thinking about it, this is just amazing because they will give you a gift that will completely and utterly, every time I've done it, be exactly related to whatever message it is that you asked, and they gave you an answer. It will correlate with that.
I looked it up, but I did it a few times too, and amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I know.
How'd that happen?
And it's not that, the thing is this is one thing. No matter how intuitive you are, sometimes you're like, did I make that up?
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing it for yourself. I don't have to always think that, because if I was like reading for someone, they can validate usually what it is that I'm saying.
Right.
But when you're reading, quote unquote, for yourself,
you're just like, oh, you're just making this stuff up.
Oh, this is just all made up in my head, right?
Yeah.
But when I think I was doing this meditation, and I asked for the gift, and they gave me a yellow canary. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Then I looked it up, and I was asking about my book that I was writing. And like, because I always ask, like, help guide me to this next part or whatever.
Right.
And the yellow canary was significant to, I think, don't quote me on this, but like communication, new projects, like, being successful in those new projects. Anyway, it's totally in alignment with what I was asking. And so that's really cool. So tell me a little bit about when you were little, remember you had a fever. You told me you had a fever.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that happened? Like a really
I
high
was
fever.
about 8 years old, and I had a fever of about 104, and I was delirious. I was totally, fever. And Mom told me later on. I do remember parts of it. I remember I had to make these balls. We had to put these balls together. I don't know if I was making something and then I remember going up to the TV and looking at the TV and like talking and my mom's like, "What is going on?" She's like, "Lisa." And I'm like, "My name's not Lisa, it's Chrissy." And Mom, I guess, totally freaked out because she's like, "What's going on here?" There's something, her brain's frying,
Right.
And I do remember saying that my name was Chrissy, and I remember the balls, and then all of a sudden I just woke up, and I looked at Mom. She's sitting there bawling, getting my coat on, and take me to the doctor, to the emergency room, and I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
She's like, "You're so sick, and we got to get you to the doctor, Lisa." I'm like, "Okay, but I feel fine now." And she's like, "You know your name's Lisa." I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Wow.
And that's where. That was I didn't know that that's part of our story, but looking back, now I know.
Right. So let me explain a little bit about our story. So I had a dream, and I'm going to put that in quotes because it was too vivid and real to be a dream. But I was a Native American man in this dream. I remember it clearly. And I found this little girl in the midst of like the battles. Her whole entire family had passed, and she was just kind of clinging on to her mother, who was no longer alive. And I couldn't. I remember exactly where it was. I remember the details of it still today. And
this is making me emotional.
And I thought, I can't kill her. And I took her to the tribe and says, I was the chief, I believe, and we're going to take her in. And so we did. And in my dream, this makes me emotional too. She had grown up. She'd started to grow up, and she was getting older. And for some reason, I knew in my dream it was because she was entering womanhood. We were celebrating that, and she had to go into this sacred like cave. And so I remember like walking with her over there to take her to this cave. And as she was walking into the cave, she slipped on a rock and hit her head and passed away. And I woke up and Lisa was actually in the next room.
Across the hall. We both had our bedroom doors open so we could actually see each other laying in bed.
Yeah. And I said, "Chrissy."
And I said, "What?"
Yeah. She said, "What?"
I was having the same dream at the same time. Well, we were there together.
Yeah. And so then that was very puzzling. We didn't know how to put that all together.
No. This is like when you were like, what, 14?
Yeah. Yeah. Something around there.
12. I was like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. Just that dynamic. We never really, I don't know, did very much with that. Just thought, well, that was weird,
We talked about it.
Yeah.
It was just like, we had the same dream at the same time. At the time, it was a dream.
Yeah.
It's
a dream.
Yeah. Okay.
And so from there, it happened to kind of become more after my little spiritual awakening when I started doing readings. Am I missing a part? I think that's it. And we were in Clear Lake, Iowa. Well, that's just coincidental, isn't it? Native Americans, Clear Lake. Mm-hmm. Anyway. And I had just gotten a drum. One of the gals said, "You know what? I think you need a drum." And I was like, "You know what? That'd be cool. I can't drum, but I'll get a drum." And so at this retreat, I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring that with. And so I did. And lo and behold, that magical drum, it must have put me in a different space. Because channeling, okay, let me explain. Because I feel like I did channel at this point. I did. But I don't believe that I had done that beforehand. Let me explain the difference between doing a medium, like reading, and then channeling. So with doing the medium work, basically, spirit's here, kind of communicating something to me, and then I'm understanding what they're saying, and then I'm telling you. It's kind of like, if you're on the phone with someone, they're telling you something, then you got to tell someone in the room the same thing. That's what it's like.
Right.
Oh, no, not with channeling, though. Channeling is basically you're the phone. You're the phone giving the message to the person listening.
Yes.
And that's what happened is all of a sudden, you remember it better than I do because all I know is like everybody was really emotional after I started drumming and speaking.
Yes.
Do you remember any of it?
I remember sitting there going, I was looking at something, and then you started talking to the person that you were giving a reading to, and there was a whole group of people, and you've been going one by one, so I was still listening and everything, but just kind of looked at something, but then I heard you talking. I turned my head, I'm like, that's not my sister. The cadence of your voice, your whole demeanor, it wasn't you.
Yeah.
You were definitely channeling somebody.
Right.
And I sat there in just complete awe with my mouth hanging open going, whoa, this is so cool.
Right.
And what a gift, And I wanted to film it, but I'm like, well, I didn't want to, violate the person you were, channeling for.
I bet she would have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
But I wanted you to see it too, because I'm like, I wonder if she's going to remember this.
Yeah.
So.
I have yet to record it, I guess.
One time we've had it recorded, I think. We'll have to find that.
Yeah, and it's just so magical because when he speaks, because I'm writing a book, and so I channel, and he will say, you need to record now. Like, he'll just come in my mind and say, record now. I was like, okay. I was at the gas station getting gas, and he said, record now. And I was like, but I'm okay. So that's the most pivotal, I don't know. It just happens at the most random times. But the words and the things he says, I'm like, oh, I could never be that magical with my words.
You're a good actress and everything, but not that good, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to come up with that stuff.
No, it's, that's how I know, like, because when I said before, like, oh, I don't know, am I making it up? I know that I'm not, because I couldn't say those things like that. And let's back up for a minute, because I didn't realize something I didn't touch upon. When you went into that cave, I looked it up years later, thinking about it. Native Americans had a tradition when a woman came into her womanhood and had her moon time, that they would gather together in a sacred cave to celebrate and find out the rules in which the girl would provide within the tribe. And so I didn't know that. How would I know that? I've never seen that anywhere. Like, that's not something I would know.
No.
And it just keeps happening.
Yeah. Little bits and pieces keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like I told you the other day that when I was probably 3 or 4, I remember having a pair of real Indian moccasins, and I loved those moccasins. And I would play make-believe, and my name was Christina.
Yeah.
That's the name I always used, Chrissy or Christina, when I was playing make-believe.
Wow.
I guess there's a reason for that.
Oh.
And I think Mom and Dad were involved in that life too. It's definitely a past life that we shared.
Right.
Because I know Mom loved the Indian culture, a lot.
Right.
Dad always thought we were Native American.
I know.
And we did do the sound bath that one time.
Oh, that's right.
And we all came together.
This was after our dad died. We decided we needed to do some like little inner healing. So us and the sisters, we all went and got a sound bath. along with some other things.
Yeah.
But
That was amazing.
that was really
Yeah.
cool because as soon as we entered into this like kind of magical realm of meditation, I had an experience of I was the chief again, and I had these feathers, and I had I think it was a wolf or a fox. I can't remember. Like it was different than my normal like situation. It was a ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going around the fire, and you were there, and we were dancing. There was music. You know, it was more than just the music in the sound bath too. It became much more than that.
Oh yeah, it was.
And you and I had the same freaking visions at that time.
Yeah.
Because we both woke up.
Identical.
And I was like, this is what you're like, this is what, and then you started to explain things.
And we were both crying because you went away from me. Like we were separated, and it was the same feeling of what happened in the cave.
Yeah.
That we were torn apart.
Yeah. And I always felt really guilty.
That you killed me? I don't know.
No, I know. I do. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, it happens.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
I forgive you.
I know, but it's really, it's weird that I really feel actual.
I still get really emotional about it.
when I wrote it in the book and stuff, I was crying.
Yeah. I read your draft. I was crying. Yes.
Yeah. And there's even more that goes along with that. It just keeps getting deeper, and there's more. And
that's what's really cool about all of this.
Yeah.
That we're still learning and still getting messages and coming into our own with all of this. That's what's really cool about intuition.
Yeah.
It never ends.
You don't ever stop working on it. It's not something like that. Just, now I just know how to do it. It's there. It's this being intuitive. If we're going to kind of put that in with the spiritual practice, I'm going to say we have to understand that intuition, it's so good to be honed in on it if you want to live your life like to the fullest, because you're living from your core truth and who you were when you were born. And so I just feel like it's important for people to understand that it's not something that you just learn and then it's there and then you're good. And for those of us who consider ourselves, I don't know, like we're more well-versed because we do it more often, well, we're humans, and we still have to remind ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
To breathe, to come to your center, to not let other people piss you off. Like all those things still have to be there.
Saying negative things, that's, I mean, you grow up like that. You have that, your ego, your inner voice, always saying you can't do this, or what you're saying isn't true. You don't believe in yourself, Yeah. And you really got to stop doing that. Or how you even talk about other people. Take it into account. Yeah, they're human. They're going to make mistakes too, And the more that you say negative things like that, the more it's going to come back on you.
Yeah. Yep. And if you think about it, oh boy, this just goes into what Chief was saying in my book. That
Chief is your guide.
That's what you call him. And that's another thing I got to explain quick because people are going to get confused. You're him, or he's your guide? I think he's a version of my higher self, which is me, which is my guide still though too.
And what's your higher self?
So that would be what we would consider as a soul. We can't inhabit our entire body, otherwise it'd probably explode. So there's always going to be a part of us that is connected to divine source.
That like stays in heaven.
Right, in heaven, yeah? And so when we connect with our inner truth, with our core, whatever word you want to use, with God, it's that. And so he, I believe, is my guide. And that, it was kind of weird because I haven't ever heard that like term used in that way. But I've asked, and I went in just to make sure, like, am I getting this right? I could feel everything in those dreams. It was me. It was me. It was me. It was me. But then I'm like, but you're my guide. And
so your guide can be your guide and your ancestor, or you in a past life.
You know what? All of the above.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's how I interpret it. So, yeah, that's how it is for me. So yes, he's my guide, but he's also just a version of me.
Okay.
So, anyway, clear that up.
It's confusing. It all is a little bit confusing, but once start getting pieces together.
It just gets more confusing, actually, because then you start asking bigger questions.
Yeah.
I don't think we're supposed to know all of it.
No. And we don't.
No.
We won't.
Oh, hell no. No, we will not. But I'm here to enjoy this adventure and help other people to at least be enlightened a little bit in regards to, like, you know.
People probably ask you, why do you do this?
Mm.
Is it for the money? Is it for, and they've asked me that too. I'm like, well, of course the money's nice, duh. But I really want to help people.
No, the only reason I laugh about that is because if money were the only reason to do something, how miserable would life be?
True.
I do it because I love it, because I
Mhm.
love helping others,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to see everybody else strong and empowered
Yes.
and doing what it is that they love to do. There's nothing more that brings me joy than that alone. So
I love coming to your workshops and your, when you do group readings and that sort of thing, and just to watch how you change people's lives.
I appreciate that. Well, I give a lot of credit to, I'm just the medium. I feel I'm the one that's, able to receive.
The vessel.
Yeah,
to
that's the word.
Deliver the message.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just a matter of us being able to take all these things and all of our experiences that we have and really living our best life,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, who's living their best life recently and has started their own business? What do you do?
Oh.
What's your gift?
I started an animal communication business. I talk to animals.
Yeah.
They talk to me. That's awesome.
I love that.
I always have. Animals have always been a huge part of my life. I either was going to be a veterinarian or a singer. So, and I think that this is my animal part of it. I do sing on the side, but, that brings me joy too. But to help the animals help their people, it's awesome.
Oh,
It is.
I love that.
Yeah, so I've started that, and I'm still learning so much. I think I've read 3 books now, and because there's so many, there are really, really great animal psychics out there too.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all intuitive too. I think that we pick the pieces that we want.
That resonate most with us.
Yeah. And you went into social work. You wanted to help people and that sort of thing. I wanted to help animals. That was my huge thing. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's brought me a huge new light of how animals look at the world and life and death. They don't think of it as an end or a beginning. There is no start and finish. It's just a circle. They know that we live and we die. And it keeps going around. Yeah. They know that they have a purpose. They know that sometimes that they die, and wild animals die to be food for another, animals die for us to eat, and they're okay with that.
Wow.
And, they, doesn't mean they don't mourn. They're sad, just like us. We know we're going to see our parents again someday.
Yeah.
That still makes us sad.
Yeah, it still sucks,
Yeah, right? It does. But it's all a part of a life, and that's the circle of life.
Yeah. Aw. Lion King.
I know.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's gonna be it's a new adventure, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. Yeah.
But then you think about this part that I think people don't understand. Just because we're intuitive doesn't mean that we always get everything right, or that we don't sometimes, I don't want to say doubt ourselves, but wonder if what we're receiving is what we're receiving.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm making all this up. Whatever I just wrote, because I tried it. I talked to the animal. I'm writing down whatever's coming into my head, and I'm like, am I just making all this up? And then I talk to the person afterwards, their guardian, their person, and sometimes I need to take my first thing that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But then I try to make sense of it and I write something else down.
Yeah.
And I got to learn not to do that, because that's the interpreting part of it. You know, like you have different signs and signals that you get for certain things.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I need to fine tune, It
took me years to do that.
Yeah. So I know it's going to take a long, while, but
animals
are a little easier. There's not as much, complexity.
Yeah.
But.
Okay. Well,
I think this next episode, maybe we should talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Talk about the animals. Talk about the different ways that we receive things.
That'd be good.
And different ways that people receive them in general.
Yeah.
Does it sound fun?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, you know what? I want to thank you all so very much for joining us. I mean, it has been amazing. Before we go, I have to pull a card because that's how I like to roll. That's what we do at the end. Let's give you a little nugget of wisdom. Before I actually pull the card, I got to say one thing is make sure to stand true in the core of who you are. Make sure that you understand that everybody else's truth doesn't necessarily have to be yours, because I feel like lately, as I've been reading people, there's a lot of chaos going on around, and it's kind of like they don't want to be sucked into the tornado of chaos along with whatever drama is going on around them. And what I've kind of gotten from Spirit is you just really have to come back to your core, breathe and find your own like center. Do the things that you enjoy. That is so very important. Take time out to just get away from all of the noise and reground, whether that be through creating, whether it be going outside, or whatever makes you feel like in that place of Zen. Oh, very good. Very good. The card I pulled says, speaking your word, voice. I think that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, how fitting.
But it's going to be very important for you to be able to get whatever it is that you're feeling out. And still, that could be through creativity. That could be talking to a dear friend or a counselor or whoever. It could be going outside and talking to,
Your horse, the cows.
or or like, I could still talk to my mom and dad even though they're not here in the physical realm. And sometimes that can help me a lot. So just remember, it's important. Stick to your guns, stick to your truth, your core. Don't let other people try to shape you into something that you're not. That's just the message I'm getting. So, you know what? Embrace your truth, stand in your victory, and really just love your life. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you want, you can go to my website. That would be fantastic. It's mynikalife.com. There you can find out different events that are going on about my services, and also my affiliate services. My sister's information's on there for her website as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have the most fantastic day.
Thanks for joining us on Intuitive Revolution. Remember, your intuition is your inner compass, guiding you towards growth and transformation. Until next time, live inspired, trust your intuition, and together we rise.